This is Histories and Mysteries. I'm Ashley.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Rochelle.
And on this week's episode, Ashley is going to be doing a story that was a listener request. And it's going to be Dr. Peven. And Rochelle is going to be talking about the Cape Ontario UFO.
Carp, Ontario UFO.
Oh.
Close enough.
Yeah, you were just talking about the spooky nursery rhymes, and I have Cape in my head. Anyways, there you go.
Yeah, so my story was requested by what was the name, Jess?
Juji.
How did you spell that?
Jujee.
Okay, so just in case we're saying that wrong, we apologize. That's our best guess. They requested it, and I looked it up, and it is a wild ride.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I am too.
Very interesting. It's not long. There's not a lot of information because it's kind of like
what's his name? PD?
Peven, Dr. Peven. Yeah, it's not long. Like I said, it's just kind of like this is what he did, but it's interesting. So
yeah, the listener said that they really enjoyed Ashley's take on the Hicks babies.
Yeah, thank you for that too. I appreciate that. It was nice to see.
You're so good.
Okay, so I just looked it up to spoil it for myself because I do that all the time. Honestly, my biggest thing, and I cannot stop myself from doing this unless I'm actually watching a movie in the theater, is I have a compulsion to look up and read the plot of the movie that I'm watching and then read all of the IMDb trivia for said movie. And Dustin's always put your phone down, stop reading about the movie. And I'm I don't care. Spoilers don't bother me.
Yeah.
And so I get more out of it when I know everything about it. But then sometimes I get so into reading about it that I
miss the movie. I do that too with a series or something like that where there's a question. I'm I need to know the answer, or if I need to know if someone died, or especially if a dog dies or something like that. I was I just need to know.
So Marley and Me is not a good one for you.
I saw that in theaters with my family, and
Same.
I came out bawling, bawling.
Yeah, my aunt and I went and saw that movie together right after we both lost our dogs.
Oh God, why would you do that?
We didn't know how it ended.
Oh.
But I do the same thing with musicals I haven't seen before.
Yeah,
but I like to listen to it start to finish first and then kind of guess how it goes. The speaking parts, and just try and figure out how what actually happened in the story. Yeah. So I did that with Dear Evan Hansen before I watched the movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. Is it good?
I'm dreading kind of putting off watching the movie because
it wasn't good.
So many bad things about it.
It was so bad.
Oh,
so bad. Anyways, moving along.
All right, well, I'll get started. So my sources were 2 articles from Daily Record and Fox 8, and oddly enough, this happened in Michigan.
Ooh, Ashley,
my home state. Joyce and Barry Brown had trouble getting pregnant, but they wanted babies so bad, and they tried for 8 years, and they just never could get pregnant. So eventually they decided to go visit a well-known fertility doctor, Dr. Peven. Now this is back in the late 40s, early 50s. So fertility, it's not well known about. IVF wasn't around yet. It was just in this time, just starting to be tested on animals. So it was very new and in its infancy, but Dr. Peven was really well known. They could do artificial insemination at this point, so they decided to go with that. And for them, it worked. In the late 50s, they gave birth to a little girl who they named Jamie.
Aww.
But back then, it wasn't as well known, and I don't think as widely accepted. I think people kind of saw it as more of a shameful thing for some reason. So they decided not to tell anyone that they did artificial insemination, not even Jamie. So she never had any idea. And in 1956, Joyce and Barry decided to add to their family again. So they went back through the artificial insemination process by Dr. Peven again, and Joyce gave birth to Jamie's sister, Lynn. And the two grew up really happy. They had a happy family.
Did they have a third one called Spears?
Oh my God, I didn't even catch that when I was doing
Rochelle and I just like shared a look and we're like, oh.
I did not even catch on to that.
Yeah, Rochelle and I both kind of picked it up at the same time. That's too funny.
So the family, Jamie Lynn Spears, no, so they grew up really happy, but they always kind of joked that Jamie was like the milkman's daughter because she looked nothing like her sister. She had dark hair, dark eyes, kind of olive skin, and Lynn was a little bit more pale. She had blonde hair, lighter eyes.
What did Spears look like?
Spears looked just like Brittany. But you know, siblings look different all the time, right?
Yeah.
So that was just kind of like a family joke. Later on in life, Jamie and now I can't say Jamie and Lynn without thinking that. Their parents eventually divorced.
Uh-oh.
And they remarried. And can I tell you that their mom back in the day was a hottie with a body?
Ooh.
She was so pretty. Their dad was handsome too, but their mom was a knockout.
Yeah.
But they remarried, and when their father eventually passed away, one of their step siblings dropped a bomb on Jamie and her sister.
Uh-oh.
She told them that Jamie was actually a product of an affair, and Lynn was born from artificial insemination. Jamie was shocked, and it kind of started to make sense. She's like, no wonder I've always looked different from my family and my sister. She asked her mom. Her mom denied everything, but Jamie wanted to know more. So she decided to do a paternity test and found out that indeed Barry was not her dad.
Ugh.
So Jamie decided to do what a lot of people are doing these days. And she tried to trace her ancestry back through like ancestry.com or 23andMe. And while she was doing that, she actually found out she was Ashkenazi Jewish. It's a very specific type of Jewish for those of you that don't know. According to Britannica.com, the term Ashkenazi refers to a group of Jews who lived in the Rhineland Valley and in neighboring France before their migration eastward to Slavic lands like Poland, Lithuania, Russia after the Crusades, and all their descendants. So they are a very close-knit community, especially back in the day. There's unfortunately a really, really bad genetic disease that they pass on to their children sometimes. So if you have any Ashkenazi Jewish and a lot of times they do genetic testing to see if your babies will have this disease. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. So this was super weird because her sister had zero Ashkenazi Jew in her. And according to the genetics website, Jamie had several close relatives, like half brother, sister close. But as far as she knew, she didn't have any other siblings.
Oh, this is getting interesting.
Yes. So over the course of the next year, Jamie continued to look into her genetic profile, and anyone who was listed as closely related to her, she messaged. But there was a lot. A lot.
You know what this reminds me of?
Oh, what?
Did you guys ever watch that Vince Vaughn movie? Wasn't it called like Milkman or something?
Yes, where he has like 1 billion children because he donated his sperm.
Yeah.
That's a good one. One day she stumbled upon a profile, but the name was just listed as LM. But it did say that the account was run by someone listed as I.M. Peven. Jamie recognized the name. That was the doctor that had delivered both her and her sister. She started to get messages from other people who were listed as her half siblings, who were also delivered by Dr. Peven. She also found Dr. Peven's grandson on the site, and he was designated as her half nephew, sharing 12.3% of her DNA. So she reached out to this grandson, and he's like, yeah, I know about you guys. I've received other calls, which, what?
I know about you.
Yeah. And Jamie was like, what? So Jamie and what would be her half sister who wanted to be remain anonymous, so we don't know her name, decided that they were just going to go show up on Dr. Peven's doorstep and see what the hell was going on.
Oh.
So she got there, and she said he was all hunched and had a walker. He said he had neuropathy, but his brain was very sharp. Initially, we just said, hey, you knew our parents, you delivered us. So he invited us in, and we got to talking. I showed him a picture of my parents, and he zoomed in on the baby, me. And he sat on a chair. We both sat on the floor at his feet like his two daughters. He said, I was a pioneer, you know. I was the first ever to be doing anything like this. She said, so there was definitely ego there. I could see it. And then he would catch himself and stop talking or change the subject. We said, you not only delivered us, but we want to thank you for fathering us. Without you, we wouldn't be here. And he asked, how did you know? And
the internet?
Yeah. Well, and she started telling him about the DNA tests. And he said that he had been donating sperm, and I'm using air quotes, since 1947, since he had been doing research in Chicago. And he said that he kept records of everything in his private practice. She said, did you ever think DNA would be around to bring all these children back to you? And he said, I never thought this would be possible. It's like a fairy tale, isn't it? My daughter thinks I could have fathered thousands of children.
Holy shit.
So basically what he was doing was, when these women would come in, he was using his own sperm if he couldn't get a viable sperm from the dad, and not telling them all the time. So what? Yeah.
Ew.
So in the case of Jamie and Lynn, he actually threw their dad's sperm out because he couldn't get like a great sample from it, and just used his own.
Ew. Okay, it's better than what my initial thought was.
So. Yeah. So despite the shocking,
like, this one's no good. Let me just whip up some more.
Like, why call them back?
I know. And despite the shocking revelation, Jamie feels pretty positive about the whole experience. She said, I don't look at it in a negative way. These women, my mother included, came to him desperate, and he gave them something they all wanted. She said, there wasn't the same regulation then as there is now. I really think he's trying to help people, and without him, I wouldn't be alive today. Some of the people that have called me feel like they've been cheated. They're having existential issues about it, but I don't see it that way. I'm just happy I'm here and have nothing but gratefulness to be alive. However, Jamie does acknowledge the huge biological and ethical implications of Peven's work. Okay. And she's even working in Michigan to make it a law, to make it illegal for doctors to do this, because currently it's not illegal. Yeah, there's no law that says the doctor can't just add his own sperm in.
You know what's funny?
Michelle, she's visibly gagging.
You know what's funny is that, like, in Canadian law, it's illegal to duel. Like, it's still part of the criminal code, and yet it's not illegal for a doctor to use his own sperm to inseminate people.
You can inseminate, but you can't duel. That's where we draw the line.
I like, ew, like, it's no, like, I didn't ask for someone else's fucking sperm. Like,
yeah.
Ugh. I thought that he was having sex with the women, though. So I mean,
right.
Like,
so this is like way better than that.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking he must have used their dad's sperm for Lynn, because she looked like them, but he used his own sperm for Jamie. So for some reason at the time, the sperm that would have been to make Jamie didn't work. He has not commented or been interviewed on this. He's 104. So he's super old. But when they asked his daughter, like his not actual daughter, but the daughter that he raised and stuff, if he ever did it to women who didn't know, she said that he would have told anyone who asked. It's not really the same thing though.
Way to, like, that's a loophole, I think.
Yeah. And like, who would ask that? Like, you're going into a doctor to get artificially inseminated with your husband's like, hey, by the way, is this yours? So I feel like that's kind of a cop out.
Just imagine having someone else's sperm injected into you.
That's such a violation.
Yeah, like it's just
yeah,
it's heinous.
Yeah. She also said that he only did it if he couldn't get a sample from the father.
So apparently every single fucking time, if you fathered thousands of children.
So during his career, he delivered over 9,000 babies. So who knows how many kids he has out there?
That's
holy shit.
Crazy.
Yeah. And he is now 104 years old. So
obviously he's doing something right.
Right? Jacking off all the time, right? It's keeping him young. Kept him young. Yeah, so that is the short but sweet story of Dr. Peven and his millions of children that he has.
Great.
Gross.
I know, it's just like, it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be going into it, but it's still gross. All right, so let's hear about your UFO, Rochelle.
About the Carp, Ontario.
Or Cape, whichever.
Definitely Carp.
The billowy Cape of Ontario.
Okay. So I have a quote to read.
Ooh.
There are 10,000 sightings each year in North America alone. So it's been since the dawn of time. Stone Age, even biblical references into our modern age. In 1947, Kenneth Arnold saw 9 unidentified crafts at the window of his small plane, followed by the historic crash at Roswell and its legendary cover-up. In 1957, UFOs were spotted over our nation's capital. The Pentagon held press briefings. Multiple witnesses in 1967 at Maelstrom Air Force Base in Montana see fighters scramble but easily outrun by UFOs that climb upwards of 200,000 feet, twice the service ceiling of our highest flying spy planes. Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man to walk on the moon, cites secret studies on extraterrestrial materials and bodies. Secretary of State Cyrus Vance, future President Gerald R. Ford, validates the UFO phenomena in official government memoranda. But now people only laugh and only Roswell is remembered. We must ask ourselves, are they really a hoax? Are we truly alone? Or are we being lied to?
We're being watched.
That would be quote by Fox Mulder, X-Files, season 9, episode 19.
Beautiful.
Love it. Have you guys heard of not to get us off track, because I know you said your story was long, but have you heard of the theory that like UFOs and aliens are just like us from the future coming back?
I told you that, Ashley.
Oh, I like that theory. I like that theory.
Wait, tell me that again. I didn't hear you.
I told you that. I think it was literally the episode that Jess wasn't with us.
Oh, that UFOs and like alien sightings are actually just like humans from the future coming back to like do things or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't like that theory.
And
I like it.
It's gonna evolve into.
I like that theory.
I don't want to look like a gross alien.
Dude, can you imagine not having any hair? You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to shave it. You don't have any hair and just 2 big old fucking eyes. I love it.
Then you turn yourself into an alien.
And you get to be green. How fun.
You are like fully capable of shaving your head.
I would look like a drowned muskrat.
You wouldn't have any hair.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead, Rochelle.
Let's snap back to reality now. The story I have to share with you this week was inspired by my love of a certain 90s TV show, but all of the information I've gathered is, for all intents and purposes, true. True in the sense that those who witnessed this event believe in what they saw. Considering it's still an unsolved mystery, as are many well-known UFO sightings that have made headlines through the years, we might never know for sure what really happened, or what the mysterious craft sighted over the small town of Carp, Ontario on November 4th, 1989 actually was. I think you'll agree this is a pretty cool story above all. Plus, it's Canadian. Pardon my bias, but I think that adds to its coolness factor.
Of course it does.
Listen, Canada is looking better and better from this American point of view.
You just said Canada again.
I know, and then I went with it.
Fine. But where do we start? How about with the question, who was or is Guardian? Amongst the hearsay about a reported UFO that crash landed in the swampy area around Manning Corners, a videotape was anonymously mailed to several Canadian and American UFO researchers, signed only with the name Guardian and an inked thumbprint. The video, clearly filmed at night, appears to show a brightly lit object with a blue flashing strobe approaching a clump of bright flares in the alleged landing zone. The video is blurry, but so far has not been proved to be doctored in any way. It became quite popular, even catching the attention of many TV shows, including everyone's favorite, Unsolved Mysteries. Despite Canadian UFO enthusiasts deeming it a hoax, the second copy of the tape mailed by the mysterious Guardian in February 1992 to American UFO researcher Bob Eschler provided the catalyst for the Unsolved Mysteries crew to make the trip up to Carp with their cameras in tow.
Bob Eschler, that sounds very familiar.
He's like a very renowned UFO.
Was he in my Black Eyed Kid story?
We did that before Rochelle came on.
I know.
Maybe.
I feel like he was in the Black Eyed Kid story.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
When news of a potential UFO crash first came to light, Graham Lightfoot, a UFO researcher living in Ottawa at the time, was dispatched to verify the claims of the witnesses. He interviewed residents in the area that had been mentioned by the Guardian about anything unusual that might have occurred the night of the supposed landing. One of the witnesses was Diane Labanek. She said that on the night of November 4th, 1989, she witnessed an intense bright light pass overhead. It looked to be heading towards the swamp at the far end of the field south of her home. She also said she had seen several helicopters earlier that evening patrolling the area with bright lights. Another witness claimed their cattle was dispersed by something, and it took a while to find them all the next day. Graham had spoken with a couple who lived in the area about a very bright light that shone through their south-facing bathroom window. The wife exclaimed, "It reached right down our hallway," when recounting the experience. She also recalled hearing the sound of helicopters that night. Unfortunately, without verifiable proof of any crashed UFO and absolutely no photographic evidence, the case was deemed a hoax, and the Guardian was nothing but a creative crook. It's worth noting that the original investigations into this incident occurred almost 33 years ago. Technology has advanced quite a lot since then. Could more answers be obtained if we look back at the evidence through a modern lens? Let's take a deeper look into the original letter sent by the Guardian along with the original tape.
Okay, I'm excited.
The following is an edited transcript of the Guardian's letter and claims preceded by a note written by author and researcher Don Ecker. This file is uploaded exactly as I received it. The file came to me unsigned and in the proverbial brown paper envelope. The text was postmarked from Canada and I had no return address. In the file, you will see reference to photos that were included. What these were: a Xerox of an aerial photo of the Carp, Ontario region, and a very poor Xerox of what was supposed to be an alien. No detail was observed, just a poor shot of what appeared to be a gray. All in all, this is extremely suspect. And the only reason that I uploaded it was that there had been much comment regarding it. Not only here, but on Paranet, so read it at your own risk.
I always find it so creepy when they refer to them as grays.
Yeah.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
Just gives me the chilly willies.
Yeah.
Don't worry, that's what you're gonna evolve into eventually.
You're gonna be a graze.
A gray? No, thank you.
Canadian and American security agencies are engaged in a conspiracy. This is the letter, by the way. Canadian and American security agencies are engaged in a conspiracy of silence to withhold from the world the alien vessel seized in the swamps of Corkery Road, Carp in 1989. UFO sightings in the Ontario region had intensified in the 1980s, specifically around nuclear power generating stations. On November 4th, 1989, at fucking military time. I should know this too because my dad is military and still only uses military time, but like 2000 hours, which I think is 8 o'clock. Canadian Defense Department radars pick up a globe-shaped object traveling at phenomenal speed over Carp, Ontario. The UFO abruptly stopped to drop like a stone. Canadian and American security agencies were immediately notified of the landing. Monitoring satellites traced the movements of the aliens to a triangular area off Almont and Corkery roads. The ship had landed in a deep swamp near Corkery Road. 2 AH-64 Apaches and a UH-60 Blackhawk headed for the area the following night. The helicopters carried full weapon loads. They were part of a covert American unit that specialized in the recovery of alien craft. Flying low over Ontario pine trees, the Apache attack choppers soon spotted a glowing blue 20-meter in diameter sphere. As targeting lasers locked on, both gunships unleashed their full weapon loads of 8 missiles each. All 16 were exploded in proximity, burst 10 meters downwards from the ship. The missiles were carrying Bexon, a deadly neuroactive gas which kills on contact. Exposed to the air, the gas breaks down quickly into inert components. Immediately after having completed their mission, the gunships turned around and headed back across the border. Now, the Black Hawk landed as men exploded from its open doors. In seconds, the 6-man strike team had entered the UFO through a 7-meter hatchless oval portal. No resistance was encountered. At the controls, 3 dead crewmen were found.
Like 3? What? Like 3 dead aliens?
But the ship captured the U.S. Air Force.
Rochelle shrugged everyone.
And Office of Naval Intelligence were notified. Through the night, a special team of technicians had shut down and disassembled the sphere. Early the next morning, November 6, 1989, construction equipment and trucks were brought into the swamp. The UFO parts were transported to a secret facility in Canada, Ontario. As a cover story, the locals were informed that the road is being built through the swamp. No smokescreen was needed for the military activity, as Canadian forces regularly train in the Carp region.
I forgot. Carp is near Ottawa, isn't it?
It's very close to Ottawa.
Yeah, because you were talking about Canada, and I'm like, I stayed in Canada when I went to the Mumford and Sons concert in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Wait. There's a place called Canada.
Yeah, it's Kanata.
So it's Canada with a K.
And a T.
And a T. Okay. I didn't hear the T. Sorry. So Canada.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
You should hear some of the instead of a joke, I should read you some Canadian fucking cities. There's
a place in Newfoundland called Dildo.
We have a dildo. We have a
condom.
No, we have something about balls somewhere. I can't remember.
Of course you do.
Okay.
You know what, like the thing I hate the most are like the pickup trucks that have the balls hanging.
Oh
God,
I hate those. Like, okay, come on, we get it. You have a penis. Move on.
Officially, nothing unusual was reported in the area. Although someone anonymously turned in a 35mm roll of film, it was received by the National Research Council of Canada in Ottawa. The film contained several clear shots of an entity holding a light. This time, the photographer is still unidentified. The humanoids are packed in ice, sent to isolation chambers at the University of Ottawa. CIA physiologist, fuck. CIA physiologist. Probably. Physiologists performed the autopsies. The reptilian fetus-headed beings.
Ew!
Ashley,
were listed
Oh, wait.
as class 1 NTEs, non-terrestrial entities.
Yeah.
Like others are covered in previous operations, they were muscular, gray white skinned humanoids.
I like the bright white skin. That's pretty.
Gray white skin.
I thought you said bright white skin. Gray white. Eh.
And that's what you want to be, Ashley.
Duh.
The ship is partially reassembled at the underground facility in Canada. Unlike previous recoveries, this one is pure military, but as a starfighter, it is heavily armed and armored. In design, no rivets, bolts, or welds were used in the fastening, yet when reconstructed, there are no seams. The UFO itself is made up of matrixed dielectric magnesium alloy. It is driven by pulsed electromagnetic fields generated by a cold fusion reactor. All offensive capabilities utilize independently targeting electronic beam weapons. In the cargo hold were found ordnance racks containing 50 Soviet nuclear warheads. Their purpose was revealed by advanced tactical/combat computers located in flight. The most important alien tech find were the 2mm spheroid brain implants. Surgically inserted through the nasal orifice, the individual can be fully monitored and controlled. The CIA and Canadian government have actively supported mind slave experiments for years. Currently, the University of Ottawa is involved in ELF, wave mind control programs, a continuation of the CIA psychological warfare project known as MK Ultra.
Oh!
At the Allen
I was going to say,
Institute
this sounds so much like MK Ultra crap.
Using ELF signals transmitted at the same wavelength the human brain uses, the researchers could subliminally control the test subject. The alien implants utilize the same principles, except that the whole unit is sub-miniaturized and contained in the brain. Fortunately, the implants can be detected by magnetic resolution scanning technology. All individuals implanted by the aliens are classified as zombies.
Ooh,
the zombies have been programmed to help overthrow mankind in the near future.
I mean,
awesome.
So
we probably deserve it.
Don't forget that is the letter that was sent by this mysterious guardian. So
that whole thing was the letter?
All we know is that is most likely complete bullshit.
Holy crap. I forgot that was a letter.
I did too.
So on the surface, it really does seem like a bunch of bullshit if you think about it.
No.
However, Andrew King of Ottawa Rewind has spent some time analyzing these wild claims, and here's what he found. It's claim number 1 in the letter. Canadian and American security agencies were immediately notified of the landing. Monitoring satellites traced the movements of the aliens to a triangular area off of Almont and Corkery roads. So, if you zoom in to the property area mentioned on a current Google satellite map where Guardian claimed the UFO crashed, there is indeed a triangular area of land that is adjacent to the swamp. This area was later verified by analyzing an episode of Unsolved Mysteries, and the property was identified.
Cool.
So, claim number 2. 2 AH-64 Apaches and a UH-60 Blackhawk headed for the area the following night. The helicopters carry full weapon loads. They were part of a covert American unit that specialized in the recovery of alien craft. So unrelated witnesses in the area said that they saw and heard helicopters and bright lights that evening. Could be true. Claim number 3, the UFO parts are transported to a secret facility in Canada, Ontario. In Canada, at Shirley's Bay, there is a government research facility where classified Defense Department projects are worked on. It is called Defense Research and Development Canada, DRDC for short, and it's where some sites claim their ongoing alien craft reverse engineering projects. Of course, it's all speculation, but we won't rule out the possibility just yet. Claim 4. The CIA and Canadian government have actively supported mind slave experiments for years. Currently, the University of Ottawa is involved in ELF wave mind control programs, a continuation of the CIA psychological warfare project known as MK Ultra, started at the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal. This is actually true. The MK Ultra program operated mind control experiments from the Allen Institute during the 1960s. Extremely low frequency, or ELF, has been the subject of many conspiracies. The mind can be controlled with these signals. Those claims can be somewhat verified by cross-referencing current data, but in the opinion of King, who curated those analyses,
Anemone.
there is still not enough evidence to verify the claim that an actual craft was ever recovered. So I want to jump back to Bob Eschler's involvement in the case. The following comes from an article published in the Almonte Gazette of February 3rd, 1993. UFO researcher Bob Eschler waved a hand over the pile of documents and photos on the kitchen table. This is a landmark case in UFOlogy, he said. The pictures on the table show a blur of multicolored lights and disc shapes and white faces with black almond-shaped eyes. Most of them were taken off a video sent to Eschler anonymously, almost a year age. Since then, Eschler has methodically and meticulously analyzed the video in the site near the old Alamonte and Cork Creek roads. It was convincing enough to draw two major American television networks there to film. NBC's Unsolved Mysteries airs its version this Wednesday on cable. So don't forget, this was written in 1993.
Oh, the year I was
cable
born.
At 8 p.m. this Friday on CJOH. The Fox Network story on sightings hits the airwaves February 12th. Eschler's involvement began when he received the videotape at his Annapolis, Maryland home last February. Attributed only to Guardian, the package bore an Ottawa postmark. The 32 minutes of footage show a mostly white linear light with red flares off to the left and a flashing light on top, said Eschler. The color of the lights ranges from red to blue to green from one end to the other. Smoke billows out from under the lights and moves to the right. As the photographer moves closer, reflections off the disc show a rounded turret in the center with a vertical blue strobe on the top and fins or slits around the edges. Closing in even more, Guardian gets shaky close-ups of the upper strobe. Soundtrack has sounds of barking dogs and a ratchet sound. NBC spent $115,000 to recreate this whole event with no success, said Eschler.
Ooh.
The rest of the tape is taken up with frames or still shots of supposed aliens standing in tall grass. Some are holding bright lights in their hands.
Oh, that's so creepy.
Hooded figures with large almond-shaped eyes have short snouts and little facial details. The tape is wrapped in 6 pages of accompanying information, some typed on fake Department of National Defense letterhead. The document showed a map of the Corkery area and a page of hand-drawn symbols of the map of the same area. There's also a photocopy of 2 Polaroid shots of grass lit by a flash in the foreground and a row of lights in the back. The fake D&D documents have thick black markers through several lines as if released via a Freedom of Information Act request. The remaining text suggested aliens wish to take over the world via cultural arts and a liaison with the Red Chinese. The Earth is their entertainment, writes Guardian, of the beautiful blondes who are infiltrating the New York art world, Hollywood, rock music, literature, and sculpture.
Oh, you beautiful blondes.
Well, Rochelle's not blonde anymore. She's pink.
I know,
now.
I'm faded pink. My roots are still blonde, though. A diagram shows the craft flying under the radar curtain to avoid detection. It's very different from anything I'd ever received, said Eschler. He added, it appears Guardian is looking to spread the words of his findings to as many people as possible. We're talking about someone who's very knowledgeable here, said Eschler, referring especially to the complex symbols. This person is obviously environmentally concerned. He said Guardian is obviously aware that in the case of alleged UFO sightings, skeptics often attack the messenger without considering the message. Guardian wanted to focus on the events, not himself, said Eschler, that shows a knowledge of UFO cases. For the past year, again, this was written in 1993. Ashler has been researching every element of the video to determine if it's a hoax. So far, he is convinced it's not. Given the complexity of the video image, we're not talking about a crude model here, he said. With his colleagues in the United States, Ashler spent 20 hours studying the video frame by frame. He said that the strobe on the top of the craft is the only vertical one he's ever seen. He added, it is unheard of the pulses alternate in high and low frequencies at very fast speed of 7.5 cycles per second. Comparing the craft to the grass in the field, Ashler, the company, determined it is 25 feet in diameter and less than 5 feet high. The red flares in the video left no traces of strontium or cesium, the two elements that make up most of the content of military flares. Instead, the site was powdered with substantial amounts of titanium, an element used in strong steel alloys. I was quite curious, said Ashler. Ashler found the titanium all over the plants in a 50-foot diameter area where plants have been dehydrated and melted with no signs of burning. All around the sphere, the grass was waist high, he added. Information from Environment Canada confirms the direction of the wind matches the video's interpretation of the weather that night. Ashler, a former NASA mission specialist, hooked up at the Canadian UFO network and found they had received a similar package from Guardian after an incident November 6, 1989. To remember Graham Lightfoot of Cobden, Ashler met Diane and Bill Labinek, who owned the property being investigated. Without letting on that they had received a tape, Lightfoot and Ashler asked if the Labineks had seen anything unusual. It turns out Diane Labinek had seen an unusual set of lights tucking her children into bed around 11 p.m., August 18th, 1991. She had also witnessed the November 1989 event. Because of her agreement with NBC, Labinek cannot tell her story until after the broadcast, which has been 29 years.
Can't believe that's been 29 years.
She drew pictures that were geometrically correct to the video and gave details about the incident not captured on tape, like the craft's departure. A neighbor recalls seeing red lightning and a white light and a gold halo the same night. Within a half hour of the sighting, 4 months afterwards, the Labinek home became the target for unusually active helicopter activity. The black, seamless, unmarked choppers hover over the house, sometimes low enough to see in the Labinek's windows. Twice they have blown shingles off the house and the outside shed. D&D has given the Labineks pictures of its machinery to prove that it's not their doing. That element still remains a mystery. Ashler has joined forces in National Research Council. He claimed he's the first person to work with the council on a suspected UFO matter. They agree, after looking at the photos taken by the family, the helicopters are not Canadian. Ashler is still questioning many aspects of the video. His biggest question remains Guardian. How does he know when and where they land? He queried. He said Guardian has to have prior knowledge to arrive on site with packages of Polaroid film and an excellent quality video camera. He said he hopes the television exposure will generate interest, hopefully more information. He will be in this area until Friday. Again.
In 1993.
In 1993.
So you just missed him.
Just by like a little. Ashler went on to write about the case himself. The Guardian case is simply one of the most important investigations in UFO research. My involvement in the investigation began in February of 1992 with the receipt of a videotape and documents sent by anonymous individuals using only the name Guardian. The video represents a remarkable improvement in the quality of UFO photographed images. She has an unmistakable three-dimensional image of a structured craft with extraordinary luminosity characteristics. Further images on the video have proved to be the first authentic images of alien beings associated with such events.
Ooh.
The subsequent field investigation efforts yielded gross physical effects at the landing site, which was witnessed by several credible individuals. A Canadian government official who resides in the area of the landing was taken on board the craft and claimed to have interacted with the occupants, one of whom was a Chinese man in a black business suit. The witness testimony was subject to polygraph examination. I don't know why I said that really weird. The results proved positive. One case has undergone more diversified scientific analysis than any other case in history. This due largely to the abundance of physical evidence found at the site. The case has been popularized with international publicity, including segments on NBC's Unsolved Mysteries, and Fox sightings. We are currently in production involving a documentary on the case to be broadcast during ratings week of February 1994.
Oh,
that's when I was born. In the summer of 2020, a film crew made the trek to Carp in an attempt to re-spark the investigation into the case. During their time there, they met a man who was once accused of being the infamous guardian. He was a local man who was chased down by a private investigator from the TV show Encounters. According to the modern film crew, this man was lovely, in his 60s, and a churchgoer who swears he had nothing to do with the case. He was certainly a believer, though, and openly discussed his involvement in other UFO cases, but adamantly denied any connection to the guardian. They met others in the area who too had experiences, but were hesitant to share them. They told stories about the inexplicable lights and encounters with what looked like distant craft on rural routes. These people were still struggling with their unexplainable experiences. They still have no idea what happened, but they all know that something did happen. Many of them still searching for answers. The original witnesses to the event, the family that was highlighted on Unsolved Mysteries, the Labanecks, no longer seem to want to talk of what happened. They wouldn't pick up the phone when the crew in 2020 called, but recently their expansive rural property has been listed for rent on Airbnb.
Oh, cool.
The selling point, of course, being able to spend the night in a yurt on the property that was once rumored to be the location of a UFO crash landing. Ian Rogers, who was only 16 at the time of the Guardian case, and a huge X-Files fan at the time, now spends his days as an author writing stories and novels about ghosts, paranormal detectives, and UFOs. In 1994, he borrowed his mother's car and set out for Carp himself. He returned in 2020 to revisit the case and found something else. Credible people in the area have had other strange encounters independent of the Guardian case.
Ooh.
UFO Town, the documentary about the case and the collective fascination with the UFO phenomenon, is now streaming on CBC Gem. Like now.
Like not in 1993.
No. It asks the questions we all want to know the answers to. Why are we so fascinated with the possibility of life beyond our planet? Do we stand on the cusp of finally finding out the truth? And why do people keep seeing strange things in this small Ontario community? That is the story of the Carp, Ontario UFO case.
Interesting.
And now I really want to go stay in the yurt.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
So cool.
Well, my question is, if I were an alien and I was visiting a planet and we landed and like everything got taken away and studied and whatever, or crash landed, I probably wouldn't go back to that same place over and over and over.
No.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem very smart.
I mean, maybe they're dumb aliens. I don't know.
Don't say that. They'll come after you.
Well, who do you think this guardian is? Do you think they're just a witness? Or do you think they have something to do with it? Or do they think they're a whistleblower like Bob Lazar?
I think it's probably a crazy 90-year-old guy living in an RV wearing a tinfoil hat. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably is that 60-year-old man.
Oh, probably a hot tamale old man.
Tamale.
Anyways, that was a really cool story. I'd never heard of that before.
No, I hadn't either.
I like it, and it's only about an hour away from me, so
very cool. In Canada.
Yeah.
In Canada.
In Canada.
Canada.
Okay.
It's where the Diefenbunker is. That's cool. Do you know what the Diefenbunker is, Ashley? It's a Cold War bunker. If Diefenbaker was a prime minister, should something happen, they would take him there.
What
happened?
And that's by you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like an hour away.
Oh, very cool.
It's May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
On that note, I have some May the 4th be with you jokes.
Ooh,
wait, I have a joke for Ashley's story.
Oh, okay.
How do you cancel an appointment with the sperm bank?
Oh God. How?
Tell them you can't come.
Oh, oh God. And just before you start your May the 4th, I do have 3 jokes that Alex sent us that I wanted to read.
Okay.
They're quick. They're science jokes.
Cute.
Why do mice stay inside when it's overcast?
Because they're afraid of cats.
Because it might rain cats and dogs.
Aw, cute.
How much room does fungi need to grow?
A little mushroom.
This mushroom.
As mushroom as possible. And why can't you trust atoms?
Because they're everywhere.
Because they make up everything. Those were from Alex, and I really liked them. Okay, so what are your May the 4th jokes? Okay.
Which program do Jedi use to open PDF files? Adobe One Kenobi.
Rochelle has her Yoda. I have baby Yoda. Is that baby Yoda?
Yeah, I made him.
I have baby Yoda downstairs too.
I have my actual baby Yoda doll, but he's in the living room.
You made that one?
Yeah.
I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
Well, that's awesome.
He has no feet. I never got around to making his feet, but I did make his little.
Who needs feet?
His little robe.
I have another one. What do you call a pirate droid?
R2D2.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Another. Okay. What do you get if you cross a bounty hunter with a tropical fruit?
I don't know.
A pineapple-orian.
A mango fett.
A mango fett. A mango.
Oh, okay. This one's really cute. It's the last one. What did Yoda ride as a kid?
Oh, what did you ride, Yoda?
A deucicle, because there is no try.
That's just a fucking bicycle.
Accurate.
Oh my goodness. Well, if you want more of us lovely ladies, you can find us on historiesandmysteries.ca. We are also on Facebook and Instagram.
And if you would love to rate and review us, it would really be fantastic. And you can do so on Spotify or Apple. And thank you to everybody who has so far rated and reviewed. It's been amazing. We love all of you.
Yes, thank you.
You live where a UFO crashed.
Let us know.
And you rent it out to other people. Let us know so we can come and stay.
And if you live in Canada, let us know too.
Canada!
I wanna house Rochelle and I for free.
Yeah.
We'll come for a visit and we'll do some little UFO stuff.
We dress up like aliens.
Oh my god, okay.
Well, we look forward to bringing you 2 news stories next week.
Bye.
Bye.